What is going on, y'all? Connor with Rock Pokemon coming at you with another Market Monday. Today's Market Monday is actually going to be part 2 of this 42 card CGC graded Pokemon return. And as a bonus, we're going to have a little Weiss Schwartz at the end. So if you haven't watched part 1, go pause this video. Part 1's linked in the description. You'll get to enjoy some of the non-holos that I graded, a lot of vending series and other cool cards from mostly Japanese Pokemon. So today we're going to hit some non-holos from my favorite set, Gym Challenge or Gym 2 Challenge from the Darkness in Japanese. We're going to hit a couple modern holo full arts. And then we're going to hit some vintage WotC era Japanese holos. And I tell you, there are some heaters in this stack. So let's get it started with Sabrina's ESP. I love the artwork on this card. It reminds me of that episode of the anime. It's just, she's just such a badass. Just these weird little, miniature dolls of the Pokemon. So very Sabrina. At the core there, with her, trapping the trainers, Misty, Ash, and Brock in that weird, psychic state with the little dolls and stuff. Very weird. So, always reminds me of that episode of the anime. And we were able to hit the 9 on it. So centering is off, of course, left to right there. So you see that. Guarantees that 8.5 basically, but other than that, surface corners and edges are 9s. See that a lot on WotC era Japanese non-holos from CGC. Getting a lot of straight 9s across those for fairly fresh cards. These mostly came out of packs that I opened a while back. The first ones this year that I opened from Gym Challenge. So next, I think this is going to be Blaine's Charmeleon. Yes, a very cool artwork. One of Ken Sugimori's kind of more well-known artworks, I would say, from the Gym series. Kind of iconic in that action pose. Of course, with Blaine's Charizard, spoiler alert, being in this set. Again, we got the 9 with, again, the 8.5 on centering. So it's interesting. You look at these side by side. Same pack these came out of, and basically you're getting some of that same shift there in the left to right centering. But all in all, a great card, great common. So really cool to have Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard from that set. So next up we have Magikarp. No, we have Vulpix. I think this is my favorite common card in the set. I think the artwork, it's just like, I'm just such a dog lover, and it just reminds me of like a little dog with its ball. He's got the Pokeball in his mouth. Like, it's just freaking adorable. And again, same 8.5 on centering and 9s across the board. So clean card in my book. Really enjoy it. Love hitting 9s on these and above. So happy to see that as well. Love that card. I mean, that's just a super fun one. So I'm very partial to that. Definitely will be keeping that one. So next up we have, there it is, Giovanni's Magikarp. Actually, I think, yes, we have 2 of these. 2 Giovanni's Magikarp. Really cool. This is going to be going to fill in my Pokedreamer display of Magikarps and Gyarados that you see to the left-hand side there. Both of these got the 9. We had one here that got slightly higher than 9.5 on corners, but both got 8.5 on centering, 9 on surface, and 9 on edges, with the 9.5 corners edging out on this one. So really iconic card, as y'all can see. So I will be keeping this one because it has a slightly better grade. And then that will go into that slot on my Gyarados Magikarp display. So pretty stoked about that. Obviously, y'all can see the shinings behind me. Gyarados being my favorite Pokemon. just the struggle of moving from a Magikarp to a Gyarados. I just love everything about that. This is a really cool one too. I love that there's multiple Magikarp on this card. So, and Giovanni's a badass. So there we go. And of course, Giovanni's Gyarados being in this set, foreshadowing. So next up we have, okay, so this is a banned card. This is Sabrina's Jinx. And we got the same subgrades as Magikarp, the 9. So the reason this is banned is because it looks like blackface. So what they did was in the English version, they changed the color tone of Jinx's face. So a little weird of a card. I know people very much like to collect banned cards though, so went ahead and graded that one. So not much more to say there. Not really one of my favorites. That is one I will definitely let go of. So. And then finally, another banned card, another one that's not really, I'm not a huge fan of, but a lot of people seem to like, just not the, it's funny, but Sabrina's Gaze, hit the 9, same subgrades, 8.5 centering, 9 service, 9.5 corners, 9 edges. Of course, banned because she's given us the middle finger there. She is fierce looking in this card. It is cool, but, banned cards don't really do it for me, despite this being my favorite set. Really cool to pull, very exciting to see that and pull, but not something I necessarily want to keep, but I thought it was a cool one to grade because it's of course very popular. So there you have it. So hit a bunch of 9s on the Gym Challenge non-holos. Let's take an intermediary break and flip to some modern. So this is going to be, this should be Dream League. Yes, so this is the Stoutland from Dream League. We hit the 9. We're not able to pull the 9.5 on this one, but I love character rares. Y'all saw if you watched part 1, graded a couple other character rares from this set. I'll be grading a bunch from VMAX Climax. I just think they're really cool. I think just to put a big set together of 9 and above, hopefully 9.5s of Japanese character rare cards is just really neat. You get a really cool Pokemon paired with a trainer. I think that's just like a really great theme. And I kind of like, the idea of that from a, store value going forward. I think people are attracted to these cards. So hit the 9 on that. And then is this another? No, this is also Dream League, but it's actually a secret rare. So it's a beautiful Erica's Vileplume or Vileplume GX. Again, only hit the 9 on this card. You really want to see the 9.5s out of Japanese. That 9 on centering is tough, but makes sense. Just getting 9 on surface with these textured cards, it's tough. Sometimes I wonder exactly how they go about determining that with so much texturing going on there. But as long as they're consistent, I don't mind. But it is kind of interesting. So 2 really cool cards though, especially the Erica. I love Erica, being a Gen 1 trainer. So very, very cool. Fits in this theme of Gym Challenge. So I thought that was cool. So now we're going to move on to, I think, 10, 3, 6, 9, 12 Japanese WotC era holos. These are pretty exciting, folks. We are going to go in order of worst to best. So did have one come in not as high as I would have thought. Sometimes I'll send a card and just kind of see how the surface grade shakes out. As you can see, there is a dimple on the back of this card here. Right here on the left-hand side, almost like a scuffed dimple. It's not a crease per se, but it's just like an oddity. So that definitely dinged the surface. And as you will see, this beautiful swirled Articuno only was able to get the 8 because we hit the 7.5 on surface, 9 on everything else, but that back surface killed us. So this is a prime example of an eye appeal card, where the front is absolutely gorgeous, but unfortunately with this issue on the back right there, where you actually, you know, you can, if you look really closely, I think you can see it there as well, perhaps. But I mean, you look at that card, you know, you look at it from here, you know, without the grade, and it's a phenomenal card, but you have to be really careful with those surface. You know, that's fair. I get it. You know, this card was not perfect by any means, but really cool. The blue on blue looks gorgeous. You know, had to go ahead and send in this card being a legendary bird, the Articuno from Mystery of the Fossils. So first holo down, up and up from here. Next, we're going to start with a couple 8.5s from Gym 1 or Gym Heroes. We have probably my favorite holo from Japanese Gym Heroes, which you have to remember, Gym Challenge is absolutely stacked in Japanese, so there's not many great holos in Gym 1 in Japanese, but this Surge's Firo has always been one of my favorites. Only hit the 8.5. It was a close one. Felt like it was a strong card, but just couldn't quite pull the 9 on surface. You know, centering I can see as an 8.5. It's not as bad as some other 8.5s, but it's definitely shifted left to right and top to bottom. So I think what got it is that it was a little bit of both, whereas a lot of the other ones, it's just one shift. So that 8.5 on surface, I mean, that is pretty standard for CGC. You know, I think some of that does drive from the back on these Japanese cards. Really hard to tell, but the holo itself, if you look at it in the light, it looks really clean per usual on Japanese cards. I love this card. I just think there's something really cool about it. It's funny because it's like Firo, but it's just a gorgeous card. Like it's the pair to Blaine's Moltres. You know what I mean? So it's like the other half, and really like it. Really big fan. So might hold on to this one. Might try to upgrade to a 9 or 9.5 someday, but one of my favorites, so I had to grade that one. Picked it up raw. Next up, another banger of a card, the Kabutops from Neo 2, Crossing the Ruins, otherwise known as Neo Discovery. This is probably the best holo in that set. I think this is one of the coolest ones. He's coming right at you know, swinging his scythe, you know, of a whatever you want to call that, of a claw, the Scyther claw. You can see the shadow of the other one here. They're just really cool. Hit the 8.5 on that as well, so you can see same grades, similar centering issues, except this one is high instead of low like the Firo, so got the 8.5 there. Surface getting the 8.5 again. That's just like the standard MO for CGC on vintage holos, and it's just tough. They're just tough, but looks amazing in that blue CGC case. I have myself a CGC 9 already, but I thought I would take a shot with this one, see if I could hit the 9 on it as well. Just, you know, got hit on the surface, and a lot of times I never know quite how they're going to treat the back of the card. And my assessment is that a lot of that surface issue on Japanese holos, where you're generally getting a clean holo, you know, from what I can see without, you know, pulling out the jeweler's loop or anything, you're getting some issues on the back where there's dimpling and there's scuffs and all sorts of stuff, especially because it's the first holo in the pack, so the back gets scuffed by the card behind it instead of, you know, potentially being like the last card in the pack. But I don't know. I mean, that happens in English too, so maybe it's just the card stock, you know. Not that it's the first one, right? Because then you would worry about the first one in Japanese, maybe the front. But it's hard to say. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But I do tend to see some back scuffing on these cards. Maybe that's just from time and, you know, them being bumped around, the backs not being high as quality. I don't know. It's something I think about when I send these cards or I see the backs of Japanese cards. I'm just not quite sure what creates that surface issue with CGC, but I do think some of it drives from the back. So beautiful card, of course. This is, you know, one of my favorites from the Neo series of cards, one of my favorite holos. So really enjoy that one. Yeah, it's interesting with the back. And I'm going to do a full video at some point about my experience with CGC thus far. And then I'll compare it to PSA and BGS, especially when I get some of those cards back this year too, because I think it'll be cool to show y'all returns from each in this calendar year and then kind of assess them together. But yeah, you know, you get that on the back of Japanese holos, and you know, it just, I have a theory that, you know, when the pack art on Japanese cards is way more beautiful than English, but you do run into the fact that, like, those packs, you know, it was 60 to a box. They were, you know, heavier boxes. The foil is thinner, and I just think the cards can be more susceptible to back scuffing and shuffling around like this, you know, moving up and down in the pack than their English counterparts. I could be wrong, but Togetic, y'all know Togepi is one of my favorites, so here's the older brother. Got the 8.5 on this as well. Again, you know, 8.5 on, you know, if I could have just gotten a little more lucky, and by lucky I mean picked up some better centered cards, I would have been sitting with some 9s, but you can definitely see that left shift and that shift up. You get that a lot with Japanese. It's really centering. Corners and edges hitting the 9. I mean, this is a great card that I picked up for a couple bucks, so, you know, it's pretty darn cool to hit the 8.5. You know, most of these I picked up for a few bucks, graded for 20, so felt okay with it. Beautiful card from Neo Genesis or Gold Silver to a New World. Really, really neat. Love the Togepi pattern. Really matches up there with my Bear Walker skateboard, so I always enjoy that pattern. So both Togepi and Togetic. Yeah, so, you know, not the best grade. A lot of holo there, though. Looks really cool. Really, really enjoy it. So we will see what I decide to do with that one. Maybe upgrade down the road to add to my Togepi collection. Who knows? Or just be okay with an 8.5, because I am generally okay with 8.5s in my personal collection, because I know a lot of them have the potential for PSA 9, and they're, you know, pretty good value to get this for, you know, basically 20 bucks, you know, 22 bucks maybe. So, really neat. So, I think we got one more 8.5 cooking in here. Oh no, that's it. I think that's it. So, on to some more higher grades. We have the Magneton from the Mystery of the Fossils. And this card I got a nice 9 on. Really neat, classic card. Cool background. Really, really stoked to have hit the 9 on this. Again, 8.5 on surface, but I got luckier on the centering, so I was able to still take the 9 on corners and edges. So just pretty sweet to hit a 9 on a vintage holo, you know, card that you just pick up for a few bucks, and can't complain about that. So neat card. Couple cool holos from Fossil. I actually like this one. It's pretty neat. So cool aesthetic. Next up we have, oh yeah, this is a good one. Hitmontop, another Crossing the Ruins holo. So just a funny one. Another card I just picked up raw for a few bucks. You know, invest the grading fees into it, and was able to hit that 9. So same grades, hitting that 8.5 on surface again. No surprise there, but getting 9s across the board on the rest. So I really like the background in this. It's a Kazuki artwork. Really cool to like see the way he did the buildings and stuff back there. She, I actually don't know if Kazuki, Sumiyoshi, I think it's a male. I always forget, but really cool one. So cool to flip it over too and like see the artwork like that. That's actually really neat. So that's a fun one. Hitmontop from Crossing the Ruins, which is Neo 2. We're gonna start heating up a little here, y'all. Another card I picked up for a couple bucks. Decided to throw at the grading. Boom. The 9 on the Mystery of the Fossils Haunter. This is one I will definitely be holding on to. I love psychic Pokemon. The fact that I picked this up and graded myself made me stoked. Well-deserved 8.5 on centering. As you can see, this border is super thin, but we did hit that 9 on surface, which is really cool. And I think if you look at the back here, let's see, we're looking pretty good on the back. No major like scratches or anything, if I recall. But really cool to see, especially with a ton of holo on this one too, to get the 9 on surface. So Psychic Pokemon just hit different for me. This is a super cool one. So very, very stoked about that. That is a keeper for sure. So we got 5 left. So let's see where we are at. Oh yeah. One more fun one from Neo Genesis. Azumarill, the big brother to Pikachu. As you can see, this has a fat swirl in it. This is one I will be holding on to in my collection. I'm a big fan of this card. Big fan of Pikachu. And we were able to hit the 9, and might I say a strong 9. So you've got a swirl. You've got a beautiful back, very clean. No scratches or nothing on the back there. Able to hit 9s across the board with a 9.5 on corners with the swirl. I mean, come on. That's a gorgeous card. That blue on blue for CGC. I am a huge fan of this card. I am very happy to have this one. I'm very stoked that I was able to pick this up for a few bucks, grade it, hit that 9, have a nice, beautiful swirl. That's a great add to my collection. So stoked about that. All right, y'all, let me check what we got left here. Okay, so we got 4, that's what I thought. Yep, 4 heaters there. So let's take an intermission and let me show you 3 really cool cards. I did IG Live yesterday opening this box, but I sent 3 cards in standard to CGC. They came back in just over 3 weeks, which was amazing. They actually came back with my economy, if you guys saw my previous video and some of the craziness that happened there. So, but these ended up showing up a day or 2 after economy, which was crazy. Opened up the box, thought it was these, was not. But these are 3 SP signature cards from the 7 Deadly Sins Weiss Schwartz set. So we have Meliodas, Important Things. A very, very beautiful card. Really, really big fan of these. I'm going to set them off to the side here. So, as you can see, has the faux signature on there, etched in. Really beautiful. Has the kind of sword vertical there. A really neat one. And then the pair to that, I would say, is Elizabeth, the other main character of the 7 Deadly Sins, Elizabeth, Druid, Priestess. So these 2 cards came from booster boxes. I got very lucky. I opened, I think, 5 booster boxes and pulled 2 SPs, which is pretty ridiculous when you look at what the pull rates are supposed to be for these. I think this one is absolutely beautiful. And, of course, we got the 9.5 with really strong subgrades on both of these. So I thought that was awesome. They make a very cool pair. If you look at them side by side, I just think that's super neat. If you take a look here and here, because they're the exact same. Like they're both the characters on the right hand side, the signatures on the left. So really neat. We got 9.5 on centering and surface, which is always hard with surface to know. Like I said, what they're going to do with these textured cards. 10s on corners and edges. I mean, the backs are flawless. So I knew these would grade high. I had them in card savers on my desk for many months until CGC opened up Weiss, because I knew that was coming and I waited. And I didn't want to send a Beckett's Black Hole, and PSA is just a little cost prohibitive. So very stoked at this pair is staying in my collection forever. These are a great set of cards. I might even try to get more of them to complete the set. Really enjoyed this anime. To cap it all off, full disclosure, will try to sell this card, even though it's much harder now that I see it in person. This is the Elizabeth SP Searching for the Sins from the trial deck. So there were decks that were associated with this set. Let's see if I have one handy for y'all. Let me see. Got a few things hanging out around here. Where is my theme deck? All right, if I can't find it in a minute. Yeah, I can't find it right now, but basically it's a lotto ticket. You open it up and you might get lucky, and the pull rates are very low to pull one of these. This is an absolutely gorgeous card. I'm having second thoughts about letting it go. I'm just not sure yet. But gosh, like the texture on that and the way it hits, I at first I do like this version better over here because it pairs well with Meliodas there. They're a really good pair. This card as standalone is truly stunning, but my goal would be here was to grade all three, keep two, sell this one, and work towards buying a Asuna SP from one of the original Sword Art Online sets. So that's a goal I have for this year, is to pick up a 9 or above of a Asuna SP, preferably from the original Sword Art Online Weiss Schwarz set. But I'm going to be really, really hard pressed to let this one go. It's really gorgeous to look at. The way the holo and the texture hits, as you can see how these waves kind of move. Absolutely stunning. So I didn't quite get the 9.5 on centering there, but again, the really strong subgrades on the rest. So absolutely gorgeous. Very stoked about that one. So that's a little non-Pokemon for y'all. Thought I would just show y'all some of the things I'm also interested in and like. I'm a big anime fan, so had to make sure y'all saw those. Let's flip back to Pokemon. Appreciate y'all sticking with me. We have 4 more cards to go. The first one is a card I got for free because I bought a 3-card Southern Islands Rainbow Islands sealed set from Japan, from a seller in Japan, and it came and it was not a sealed set. It was wrapped, but the seal was not a real seal. The cards were real, everything about it was intact, but the plastic wrap on the outside was obviously a fake because it was like the wrong size. So I reached out to the seller and they said, oh my gosh, we must have gotten duped by this, local shop here that we bought it from. You keep it and we'll refund you. So y'all saw the Onyx and the Pidgeot that both got 9s in the last video. I went ahead and sent the Mew as well many months ago now, maybe last March, maybe February, March, April time frame. Really was hoping for the 9 on this card to complete my set of Southern Islands in a 9 in mostly CGC. So I was able to pick up a PSA recently, but then sold that because I hit the 9, y'all. I freaking hit the 9. These are so hard to grade. The surface are so hard to keep intact over time. I am so stoked about this, especially with 9s across the board on everything. I just love the way that looks. Centering a 9 makes sense. You got a little left to right here, a little top to bottom. Surface with a 9, you got a bit of a print line here, which happens, many a time with these. Oh, it's a freaking gorgeous card. You got Charizard in the background. It's ridiculous. Corners on a 9 as well. I think that's fair. Actually, could have thought corners could have been higher. Just taking a look at it over the camera here. Yeah, corners and edges getting a 9. I mean, it is what it is. But all in all, I'm stoked about this. I'm a 9 collector. Love hitting this. Really, really stoked to have it in my collection. Round out a lot of those CGC 9s I have from the set I graded myself. So when I graded the full set of this, I hit an 8.5 on the Mew. So I have an 8.5. Now I have the 9. So really stoked to have graded that myself. Really, really cool. Lastly, we have 3 major bangers from Japanese Gym Challenge. So here we go, y'all. Enjoy the last part of this video. First up, my favorite Pokemon of all time, Gyarados, with the man Giovanni featured, with of course it being Giovanni's Gyarados. Picked this card up myself for a few bones. thought, hey, I think this is a really strong card. I think we got a good opportunity here to put a 9 or above in my collection. Knew the centering was a bit off here, but felt good about it. Boom. Was able to hit the 9, y'all. So very stoked about this. One of my favorite cards from this set. Obviously, I'm a huge Gyarados fan. And, this card just hits different. I mean, it's just such a cool one. The way that Sugimori artwork is just superimposed kind of into that cool background. Beautiful holo. Got the 8.5 on centering, 9s across the board. Was so stoked to hit this and add it to my collection. So really excited about that one. Just another banger of a card. So next up, y'all might remember last March, I went live, I think it was for my 1,000 follower giveaway and celebration on Instagram, and which is crazy to think about how long ago that was, or not long ago that was really. But this card, I pulled myself live from a pack that I ended up buying or taking out of my personal collection, because the one I bought from my good friend Glenn didn't arrive in time for the stream. So I ended up opening that one after on my own, which we'll get to. But this one I opened on stream. Y'all might remember me pulling this Blaine's Moltres from that pack. Really cool pictures I still have that my buddy took, who was in the room, from that live stream. I remember this like it was yesterday. Late March of 2021, and this card is just an absolute stunner. There's so much holo there. It's absolutely gorgeous. And we hit the 9, not to mention we got a 9 on surface, a 9.5 on corners, and a 9 on edges. Of course, we get the 8.5 on centering with a little bit of left to right, maybe a touch of top to bottom. Might just be a skew a little bit, but all in all, this is a gorgeous card to me. Think it's pretty consistent with some of the other grades I've gotten. You can see the back is absolutely beautiful. Corners getting a 9.5. I definitely agree there. Edges getting a 9. I feel like sometimes that is just standard, but I do see one ding up there. So another one that's going into my personal collection. So really cool to have pulled this myself, hit the 9. This card is a stunner. This Blaine's Moltres is awesome. And you got to remember, it's in Gym Challenge in Japanese. So I see a lot of people buying, Japanese Gym Heroes packs thinking they're going to hit this fire chicken, but they only get Rocket's Moltres. All right. And that's when things got crazy. And I opened the pack that my good friend Glenn sent me. And just did it on the floor in my room, hanging out, not on camera, just, wanted to enjoy it. And I always joke with Glenn that he was going to send me a Charizard. And Glenn sent me a Charizard. And I freaking hit the 9 on it. I mean, are you kidding me, y'all? Are you kidding me? Oh, man. Again, 8.5 on centering, 9s across the board. I mean, this is a gorgeous card. This is a really strong card. A little bit of centering left to right. A little down on that edge, but my goodness, to have just pulled this myself, sitting on the floor like it was frickin', early 2000s in my grandma's house, 1999, 2000, 2001, opening up packs. That is an experience I will never forget, and I'm super thankful for Glenn providing me with those packs to open. Really minty packs mean really minty cards potentially. So always better to have pristine, well-kept, original owner packs, especially when you're buying, to know that they are real and that the cards inside haven't been thrown around because that pack's been passed around a million times. So beyond excited to hit this as well. So we'll put down the Mew for a second. These 3 cards graded myself, all vintage Japanese 9s. I mean, just absolutely freaking wild. These 3 will complete my Japanese Gym Challenge 9 and above set. They will go into those 3 slots up there and fill that in. Shout out Poke Dreamer for the display. But y'all, just bring these in here, take a look. So we were able to hit, oh, a little bit of glare there. We were able to hit the 9 on the Blaine's Moltres, the 9 on the Giovanni's Gyarados, and of course, the 9 on Blaine's freaking Charizard. So there you have it, y'all. Really looking forward to making a video about more of my experience with CGC. I can tell you they're tough but fair. I can tell you that they still sell at a discount to every other grading company. So for a personal collection, love it. If you're trying to make a business out of this, tougher, but you get your cards back quicker. The prices are really attractive, but we'll do a more in-depth video about that another time. Just really excited to have hit such awesome grades, especially on these Japanese vintage holos. So if you haven't seen part 1, go check it out. If you haven't seen the 7-card return I had for economy from CGC, go check that out, including the Chansey I pulled on my birthday and the Rockets, Team Rockets Dark Charizard that Don Diego pulled for me during her box break at Bleecker Trading. Go check out that video. Y'all, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate the support. I have been working a ton lately and not really as active on social media, which is fine by me because I'm really stoked about the work that I'm doing in the business I'm helping build. But I do miss y'all. I miss some of the live streams. I miss interacting as much. Hopefully we'll have time for a box break soon or just some live stream hangouts. But look for some content next weekend while I am at Leonhardt's pop-up shop event down in Dallas. Going to take a quick trip down there and really stoked for that. So thank y'all for watching. I am Connor from Rock Pokemon. As always, collect what you love, but do it intelligently. See y'all soon. Have a great week.